Let's get right to it, man. Let's talk about this. The greatest of all time, Nick Saban, has retired at the age of 72 after 7 national championships. I want to be very clear. There's a lot being said right now about as to why he retired and the different reasons that went into that. Spoke to somebody close to Alabama this morning. What I was told is right now there's nothing concrete. So to put it simply, everything that we're hearing right now is just purely speculation. And everyone was surprised by this, is what I was told. Nick Saban told everyone in a team meeting. He worked all the way up until that team meeting. Like there wasn't this thing where, okay, Nick Saban wasn't at his typical, spot at his desk at, X time in the morning. Like he worked all the way until this team meeting, told everyone, and this was obviously a shocker to a lot of people. Now, barring any other reason that has not yet been concretely reported, like barring anything that would be personal or otherwise, from where I'm sitting, I think this is just the GOAT going out on his own terms. And we said that in a reaction video yesterday. I'm going to say it again. Like, he has nothing left to prove. Nothing left to prove. There's some thought of, well, Nick Saban kind of lost a step. I don't see that from where I'm sitting. Because last year, they lost by double digits in Tuscaloosa. We were there. They lost to a better Texas football team in Bryant-Denny Stadium. Took that loss, bounced back, won the SEC over a Georgia team that had won 29 in a row, and then they made the college football playoff. So given that sample size, I think that was one of, if not his very best coaching job to this point in his career. If he wanted to run it back for next year, his team would have been in contention yet again for an SEC championship. And when an expanded college football playoff model goes into practice this upcoming year, I have to believe Alabama would have been pretty comfortably in that thing, whether they won the SEC or not. So if he wanted to win another national championship, I think that would have very much so been accomplishable. But again, greatest of all time, nothing left to prove. What he's done in this game, I don't think he has anything left that he needs to accomplish to warrant when he wanted to retire. Again, he's 72 years old. The thing that's so impressive about Nick Saban, one of the things that I think makes him the greatest of all time, yes, you got the 7 national championships, 6 at Alabama, 1 at LSU, has had an illustrious coaching career from a resume standpoint. But I think the timeline in which he's done those things, because think about this, the way college football has changed since Nick Saban got into college football and to where it is now, he's been a constant in that. He's continued to adapt. And the thing here, he's had a lot of success throughout his career. And a lot of times you see people have success and they kind of put the blinders on and say, okay, my way is the right way and my way works. It works for these results. I'm sticking to my way. And Nick Saban, yes, he's had core principles and internal standards that he's held Alabama to. That's why you see them have the draft picks they have. But I think the fact that he's been open to adapting to the way that college football has changed is why he is successful as he has been. There was a point in time, we talked about it yesterday, where Alabama, was pretty much dominating the trenches. That was how you won national championships. And Alabama won their fair share of national championships with Nick Saban. But then the game starts to shift a little bit to favoring up-tempo offenses and a little bit more of a space and pace kind of style of play. So what does Nick Saban do? He doesn't say, no, my way worked. He doesn't say, no, we won in the trenches, so we got to keep winning in the trenches. He says, okay, I see the game adapting. Let me go recruit a quarterback like Tua Tagovailoa. Let me go and hire offensive coordinators like a Lane Kiffin and a Steve Sarkisian. And they go and have success that way. He was never just closed-minded to his principles and to how he does things. And the reason why they were as successful as they were at Alabama and everywhere that Saban went is because of his willingness to change and to adapt. And I heard Reese Davis make this same point, and I think he's exactly on the money. Whether Saban agreed with where college football was going or not, he was still more than willing to adapt if it was best for his football team. Like how he felt about NIL or the transfer portal or whatever didn't matter because he was like, okay, if this is where we're going, I'm going to adapt and do it better than you. Like we saw that with the transfer portal. It's kind of shifting more to a college football free agency model. He's like, hey, I think we need more regulation with NIL and we need more regulation with the portal. But if you want to go this way, all right, we'll go get Jahmyr Gibbs. All right, we'll go get Jermaine Burton. He dominated college football's changes, I think, as well as anybody else in the history of the sport. NIL, we need more regulation, but if that's how we're going to do it, we'll crush NIL too. And as much as he was willing to adapt, just like I said earlier, he never compromised. There was never this drinking my own Kool-Aid kind of feel with him. It was, okay, we know what works here from an internal standards, standpoint, and that in itself speaks for itself. So the scheme's going to change. The way that we do things is going to change from a roster assembling kind of standpoint. But like, he's never going to just sit back and say, okay, we can take our foot off the gas. Never compromised in who he was, never compromised in how he ran his football program. And I think the fact that there were so many changes around him, and he adapted, but he was also at the exact same time the constant for success at Alabama. Like, those 7 national championships are impressive, but you look at the different staffs, look at the different personnel. How many coaches have we seen over the course of history not fall off, but maybe not have sustained success as soon as they lost that all-star coordinator to a head coaching job somewhere else? It felt like every other year Nick Saban had a different OC or a different DC. And still, Alabama was Alabama. That in itself, I think, points as clear as day to the greatness of Nick Saban and what he was. He attracted greatness. He attracted guys that wanted to do things his way. And if they didn't want to do things his way, he eventually got them on board with doing things his way. Player development for him also is, second to none. 49 first-round draft picks from the college football playoff to the BCS. However college football changed, he continued to develop and equip his players for success in life and at the next level. So I said this yesterday, I'll say it again. There will never be another Nick Saban. Him retiring yesterday was the end of a very special and impactful chapter in college football. And for all of us that got to experience it, whether you saw him on television broadcasts on Saturdays, whether you went to games in person every Saturday in Tuscaloosa, however you got to witness Nick Saban, we all witnessed greatness. We all witnessed greatness together. Hey, y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.